Hi guys, okay, here's a quick tutorial that we're going to be uploading to our website and Facebook page on how to fit a set of replacement injectors to an R53 Cooper S. The ones we're fitting here are 440cc, which would be the correct size for all supercharged applications running up to about 250-260 horsepower, running about 80% duty cycle. Same electrical connection as standard, same physical size, correct spray pattern. So it should be a nice easy fit, but there's a couple of things to look out for, so we'll just go through that. The first one is taking off the old fuel rail. You will find that these two bolts here, M8 bolts 13mm hexagon, once we've taken those out, you will find the fuel rail is quite tight to get out. So what we tend to do is just get WD-40, something similar to that, and we just spray that all around the entrance where the injector goes into the inlet manifold. Just let it soak for a couple of minutes and then very carefully wiggle the fuel rail out. You can put a little screwdriver behind here just as a slight leverage, but don't be too aggressive and make sure you pull it out square. Obviously I'm sure you've already noticed we're doing this with a manifold on the bench. Normally this would be done on the car, but we happen to have one and it's nice and warm up here, so that's why we're doing that. So once you've got the fuel rail out, this one's already been out before, I'm sure you can tell. The first thing to do is check down the four bores here where the injectors go in. This goes straight down into the engine, so it's very important that we get these bores very clean and lubricated properly before we put the new injectors in. This manifold's fairly clean because we have probably chemi-washed it at some point, but you will find lots of bits of grit and rubbish around the edge there, and the bore itself will be corroded as well. So first thing to do will be get out all the little bits of rubbish around the edge of the bore. What we tend to use with that, I haven't got one to hand, but I have actually, would be a small screwdriver, and we'd wrap a piece of cloth or something around the end of that and very carefully work this round here to pick up the crap. You want to make sure you've got some WD-40 or something on the cloth, because then as the cloth touches it, it sticks to it, it doesn't drop down the board. We want to keep everything as clean as we possibly can here, so being meticulous is important. Any grit down in the engine is not going to be good. So okay, so we clear off all the main loose bits of grit and gravel that have caught in there to all four cylinders. The next thing we need to do is clean the bores up. Now the bores itself do corrode, they go further up, they're aluminium, they're probably 10 years old or more, whatever. So we need to clean the bore. Before you do that, make sure no O-rings have got stuck in the bore, because when you pull the old injectors off, particularly when they get stuck, they tend to leave one of the little black O-rings behind. You see this injector hasn't got an O-ring on it, probably because when this was pulled out in a previous life it left the O-ring behind. This one's still got the O-ring on it. So if it has left an O-ring behind the bore, just use a very small screwdriver, be very careful, hoik it in like that and literally hoik it out, pick it up, put it to one side. Next thing we do is clean the bores up. Now what we use for that is something you can make yourself at home. Believe it or not, we use this in the aerospace industry, it works very, very well. A piece of 1/4 inch silver steel, or if you're younger than me, 6mm silver steel. Cut a slit down the length of it, straight down the middle, about 25-30 long, with a hacksaw. Push a bit of Scotch-Brite in there. This is industrial Scotch-Brite, but you can use household, the green stuff your mum uses for doing the washing up. Cut a section in there, put it in the slot, squeeze that up in a vise. You've got a very nice tool there. Let's see, it wraps around as you turn it on to clean the bores. It doesn't remove any metal whatsoever. It's a very good thing to use, and you can make a nice long tool as well, so you're not getting the chaps not hitting the manifold. It costs you about 5p a make, and probably about 10 minutes of your time. So what we do here is put some bit of WD-40 or similar on the Scotch-Brite again, so the rubbish is sticking to the Scotch-Brite. You're not pushing dust, dry dust into the bore. We then, what I do is roll that round by hand like that, place that in the bore like that, run that, don't be shy with it. You won't take any metal off, you can be put as hard as you like. But do make sure the metal doesn't touch the metal manifold. So we clean that up there. Pushing quite hard actually, pushing side to side with stirring action as we go around there. Right, that's clean, but it is still wet. So what we need to do is get some tissue paper, a bit of brake cleaner. If you haven't got brake cleaner, WD-40 as you use for the other operation will be fine. Put that on there, and we put this down the bore, almost like screwing in action. Clean out the bores really nice like that, okay? Don't drop anything too far through. So make sure it's all screwed up like that. It's not going to flake up. It's not just a bit rolled up and pushed in. It's rolled into a little sort of corkscrew action really to get that in. And take that out. You see there's quite a bit of debris mixed with WD-40 on there. If you look at the bore now, if you look at this bore, you'll see that's beautiful in there. Maybe you can see it in the camera. If you look in there, that bore is like brand new, okay? So we've got that perfectly clean. We need to do that on all four. Right, the next thing to do is the injectors. So taking the new injector, the O-rings on the GTT replacement injectors are slightly softer rubber, slightly larger OD diameter, 0.3mm. Doesn't cause an issue at all as long as you cleaned everything properly, which you should do in any case. So what we then do is we get a little bit of grease. This is special grease designed for use on rubber seals, but to be honest, you could just use normal workshop grease. It's not going to hurt the O-ring. They're designed to be in contact with oil and water anyway. So a bit of grease around there. Don't be shy with it. It's not going to hurt the engine. And then the all-important WD-40 again, or home brand, whatever it is. Squirt that on the injector and squirt it on the bore as well. And because you've cleaned all this, you're not washing any rubbish down there. It's very important that it's all clean. So again, don't be shy with it. Put that on there. And what I do, and you can do too, rather than putting these in the fuel rail next, just individually check them in the bore. So I'm just going to get the injector there and just push that in there, pouring beautifully, see? That's a slightly bigger O-ring, 0.3mm, softer rubber. No issues at all with that going in, look, lovely. If it wasn't lubricated and the bore wasn't clean, which it should be anyway, there is certainly a risk of you nicking one of the O-rings just where it enters there, or possibly the O-ring not even going fully in the bore. So okay, we've proved that. That needs to be done on all four. The next bit is the fuel rail. Again, this fuel rail here still got two standard injectors left in it, which I showed you before. You'll find here these are nice and clean, so you certainly don't want to be putting this in there, okay? Mainly because all the muck's going to be going in, but also because it doesn't need it. So a little spray of brake cleaner if you want, not a problem. Put the tissue in there again, rub it round. Again, it's not essential on this part. Again, take the injector. It's the other end of the injector this time. So I'm going to get a little bit of this grease again. I'm going to rub that around the O-ring like that. Okay. Okay, and a little bit more WD-40. Don't be shy with it. Put a bit in the bore if you like. It's not going to hurt. It'll mix perfectly well with fuel. Doesn't cause a problem. And then this, same as we did with the other one. We just make sure that this actually goes into the fuel. So push that in. Sort of roll it around a little bit as you go, and that's going in lovely. Right? There are little C-clips which hold the injectors in the rail. This rail has been removed. I haven't got one in my hand to show you, unfortunately, but it's like a C-shaped clip which has to go in the groove. That matches the original pattern. There's a little tiny groove there, like a circlip groove, and that little horseshoe clip goes in there, clips in that and goes over this lip. Now that means that the injector is in the correct amount. It's not too far out, okay, which is going to cause problems with the O-ring going too far through the manifold, and it's not too far back, such that it doesn't go in far enough. By putting the circlip in there, you've ensured that the injector is out the correct distance, it can't move forward and backwards. So that's it. You do that with all four injectors, obviously. Put the clips in, lubricate all four of these new injectors here, and then you get to the point then where you need to put this back in here. We've not got four injectors in here to show you, but we really just make sure we just give this a little wiggle back and forth like that until it's fully in. And you should be able to get these metal plates within about 1mm of that face before you even put the bolts in, if not the full way. Then put the two bolts in, tighten them up. If you haven't cleaned up the bores, you haven't lubricated things, what happens is you'll tighten the bolts up and this will kick at an angle like that. You'll think it's in, it's not. The O-rings will be not fully down the bore, or they'll be pinched through the clamping action of the bolts and cut the O-ring, okay? So this needs to be in position, fully in, all the way along the length before you put the bolts in. Do not rely on the bolts to pull it in, because it will not pull it in square, because the pulling point is here, the injector scent line is here. So what you're actually doing is it tends to tip like that slightly. So yeah, that's it really. The electrical connectors are the same as standard, so they just connect as original. Impedance is the same as well. That's it. You can fit these without remapping. You can remap if you want to, or there's no regulator on this one, but the adjustable fuel regulator we do goes in here. If you buy the 440 with the adjustable fuel pressure regulator, we can set the pressure for you, which will be pretty damn close to perfect as soon as you put it in. But of course you've got the facility to adjust the pressure up and down, user adjustment. So yeah, that's it. So the two important things here are cleanliness in the bores and lubrication with a little bit of rubber grease and a good spray of WD-40. But okay, thanks for listening. I hope it's of some help. Thank you. Bye.